Welcome to Going Beyond, and thank you for joining us today. In my studio, I have a very brilliant young adult. His name is David Francis Royce Baker. He began to write when he was a little boy. In fact, he published his first book when he was 14 years old. And today he's an established writer and he's still only 17. Let David actually take us on this incredible journey. Your book, the one you did at 14, it's called The Chronicles of Cancatia. Is that right? Am I pronouncing it right?
Cancatia.
Cancatia. Okay. What does it mean? Where did you get this title from?
Okay, so basically it's a four-part series.
Okay.
So that's why I came up with the Chronicles. And because it basically starts with C and Cancatia also starts with C. So
Okay.
I came up with the Chronicles of Cancatia. And Cancatia is a fictional land. You could say it's a land where I like to escape to for reality, where I fill it with different kingdoms, different characters, and there are different kings, queens, princesses, and sailors, and really there are dragons in the book. And we also have a pet tiger.
Wow.
The heroine of the book, she has a pet tiger which she rescued from the forest.
So it's entirely of your own imagination, make believe.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
So how old were you when you wrote your first bit and piece?
I've been writing since a very young age, since as long as I can remember. I've had a very creative childhood. I've done different things. I've tried painting, drawing, obviously, and also I play with toy animals. You know, the plastic toy animals. I had a huge collection of them, and my father would spoil me by buying all those things.
Hmm.
And I had a really creative, I started playing with them, creating stories out of those. And it was actually when I stumbled upon a toy sword. It was a plastic sword, and my sister and I, we were playing with that. And that is when this whole idea of the Chronicles of Cancatia came up. And I was around 10, maybe 11 or during that time. And after that, I really built on that basic story. And in the book, it's a lot different from what it originally was. But the main fragments of the story, they remain the same.
Right. I'm beginning to understand that the main people for your success would be your parents.
Yes, definitely. They have been very supportive since a young age, and I think I'm really blessed to have parents like them because as my interests varied, they have always been to back me up and cheer me when everything sometimes when I'm down, and my interests have been varying a lot,
Right.
as you can
Your
see.
grandmother also did a bit of writing, I gather, right? Did I see somewhere that did she write poetry, David?
Yes, she's written poetry, as I've heard.
Mm.
And, my father also tells me she used to write lots of letters to him. She used to fill every, nook and cranny of the letter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Tell me how the book has been doing. How have your books been doing now?
When it started off, the books did well. And, reviewers, they gave me really good feedback on the book, like reviewers like 𝕮𝖓𝖈𝖊𝖉. And I also had a book launch at Amir Mahal that was hosted by the Prince of Arcot.
Arcot.
And he also, the 𝕮𝖓𝖓𝖈𝖊𝖉, his son,
His son.
actually gave me a good review for my book. And I think those reviews really helped me to motivate myself because I had lots of doubts. The self doubts come in when you're publishing a book, and that really helped me to see, okay, that people want to read my work, and that's got me through. And after that, I published it in my 10th standard, the first book, Divided, and recently I published it in my 12th standard. So those are two crucial years
Right.
for the education. So I've taken a step back from marketing and promoting, but now that I've done all my studies and I'm enjoying my holidays now, I'm getting back into the marketing.
Right. So the Chronicles of Cancatia is the main title, and underneath that title,
Yes.
you have how many books now? You've done 2 already.
Yes, and there are two more coming.
Coming when?
I'm still writing them.
Okay. How long do these things take, David?
Writing them is I do it quite quickly. Divided took me 2 months to write, and Listen also took me 2 months to write. But that's just the first draft, and after that you have to work on the editing. You have to get the book cover designed.
Mm.
You have to go through multiple drafts actually, and I think Risen went through 6 drafts. So each draft you have to fix something. Maybe there's a small plot hole or some. The final draft was like just a proofread, so that takes a long while.
So, who helps you with all that? Do you do it yourself?
The initial editing, I do it myself,
Mm-hmm.
but then, when you want, it's better to always have new eyes on your work, any work.
That's a good
And
point. That's
yeah,
a very good point. Yes.
so I go to my mother and she helps me to, read through the draft. She even reads through the draft multiple times more
Right.
than me. So each draft she reads through, and then we do go to a professional editor who, helps me with the copy editing. And then my mom also helps me with the proofreading, and I do the final
Right.
proofreading.
Now, David, you started with this fantasy world. You can't be in the fantasy world forever, obviously, as you're growing up. You're already a young man. So, what's sort of the next, on your cards, really? I know you like horror and you like crime and stuff like that. So, do you see yourself eventually moving into that genre?
Yes, definitely. I would move on because there have been many story ideas that I've got when I was young, and the Chronicles of Kencatia was just one among them. So the first idea that I got was actually a crime mystery series, and then I came up with a horror story, and after that was the Chronicles of Kencatia.
Right.
So I will be going on to them, uh, maybe in the near future.
Did you like the series like Harry Potter? Tell me, did you find that interesting from your own idea?
Yeah, definitely. I've read a lot, so I've definitely read different books across genres, and yeah, the Harry Potter, it's a very nice series, especially for youngsters.
Mm.
And I think the place where you can start your reading is actually through Enid Blyton. Like her book, she's published many books, and even I still read them today. When you want a break from the world,
They
you
are
just want
lovely,
to,
aren't they? There's no
yeah.
stress to read a book like that, isn't
Yes, it's
it? Yeah.
just straight up fun. You're laughing and you just read them. It's really wonderful to read those
Right.
books.
But do you think that kids these days, I mean, are really enjoying stuff like that? I mean, I think the habit of reading is a wonderful habit to cultivate in children. But do you think that kids read enough these days?
I think it's slowly reducing. Um, but of course, there are plenty of readers out there. But I think kids should really start into reading a lot more, because it doesn't just it isn't like a hobby. It's more of you learn a lot, and my vocabulary and the words that I new words that I find, it's all because of my reading. It's only based on that, because you tend to use a lot of words. It just creeps into your vocabulary when you read it a lot.
Mm.
So that's a really interesting, and it's a emotional journey also, because in a movie, when you actually look at a movie, you're just seeing things, but when you're reading a book, you feel everything that the character feels, and it's a really magical experience. And I think this generation, the next generation, they are supposed to immerse themselves more into reading, and I would really urge youngsters and also maybe parents to encourage their children to read.
Right. David Baker, are you a bit of a dreamer?
Yes, I do dream a lot. Mainly, it's of these days. It's a bit of regarding the Chronicles of Kencatia. When I get a free time, when I'm about to go to bed, I just like think, okay, next, how do I move this plot? The major plot points and all that. And of course, I do have other dreams as well for my career. I want to become an astrophysicist, and I really like science, mathematics, everything. So.
Right. You have just finished school and have done brilliantly well. I've seen the kind of marks you have turned up with. So when you think about it going forward, you say astrophysicist. Who knows? You might just end up being a writer, a professional writer. Do you see that as a future for yourself?
Yes, definitely. I would love to, just sit and write all day. But I think, we need some spice in our life, something different to do just rather than just writing. I don't want to be just focused on one thing. So I would definitely write, all through my life. I would definitely put out more books out there. However, I want to do something related to the science, because I'm really intrigued with the universe, the mysteries, and physics and everything. But who knows, maybe I could also end up writing, and maybe I could also research in those lines and actually write books in those lines.
I'm amazed, to do so brilliantly in school, to be publishing books, to be painting, to be playing chess. Where is the time?
I think it's you really need to manage your time well,
Yeah,
because especially in a country like ours, like, we really need to do well in our academics as well. That's a really important thing, and that's going to build your career. However, you need to have some amount of time for your creative space. So the way I actually deal with it is, as soon as I get back from school, I finish all my homework for the day. I do that, and then I'm completely free with my time. And then you get on to doing what you want. And the weekends, mainly, I try to finish all my work on Fridays. So I have the Saturday and Sunday to myself,
right.
and you just
When you were a
do.
very little boy, I was reading that when you were 7 years old, you used to write little essays and little articles, etc. So, who gave you that first impetus? I want to know, David.
Okay, so I was reading, that time it was mainly Enid Blyton, and I wondered to myself, why not I have a book? I have my name on a book, and that was some where I actually wanted to write. And I went on to write, something short, like a short story, and then I showed it to my parents, my other family members, my sister, and everyone, and they were really amazed, and they really encouraged me. So I think all of them, my family, they have been supporting me throughout this journey, and it's because of them that I'm here
Right.
today.
Does your sister write? Does your father write? Does your mother write? I mean, I know your grandmother, yes, the poetry part of it. But anybody else within the family? Is this a family trait, a little streak somewhere that I'm not thinking about here?
My mom, she's a voracious reader. She reads a lot, and she was the one who actually got me and my sister into this habit of reading, and that's brought us here. And my sister, and my mom actually used to write for small magazines. She used to write really nice stories.
Ah, does your mother still write here
Yeah,
and there?
she does write small articles, but now with all the family and her career, she has to build that. But I actually urge her to write more. She can also write a book. That will be really, I've been telling her, and she's also wanting to do that.
So one day we might have a mother and son duo doing a book, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
that possible? You told me about horror and crime and things like that. I mean, is there another side to you that I'm not seeing here, David?
yeah, probably that is a side, because in the book there are actually many wars, and there's a lot of killing.
Really?
Yeah, and I take the books to show that the horrors of war. Actually, it's basically, I my writing, I tend to lean on something like showing the world, maybe this is wrong, we need to have peace, because that's what the title suggests. Like, the world is divided, and now we are also divided among ourselves. We are having wars and everything, and I just want to promote my views through my writing. That's something which I've wanted to do.
Right. Have you ever passed your books through your own friends of your own age group? Have they ever been looking at your work?
Yes, they have. My friend, he recently started reading my book as well, and he's been giving me some comments. I really like the way you do that. And also, my cousins, they read the books, and they are actually, they are bugging me, when the next book is coming out.
Really?
Yes,
How do you take criticism? I mean, and there must be some of that too.
yes.
How
Yeah,
do you handle
when
that, David?
Yeah, when I started out, actually, there were a few people, they were saying, now is not the age for you to write and all that. But I just, didn't really take that to heart. And I focused on the positivity, like Harry McClear. And then there's also Sunanta Sugendran and Tirupura Sundari. They really gave me good feedback, and they really encouraged me. And actually, I attended a literary workshop that was organized by Droplets Creation, and that's where I really met different people in the literary world, and that's how I actually connected with most of my reviewers.
Right.
And criticism, yeah, people do tell you
Yes,
that,
of
and
course.
if it's a feedback, they can say, you could have done this better.
If it's constructive
Yeah,
feedback, it's fine, isn't it?
yes,
And I think really people like us, when you put yourself out there in the open, you've got to be expecting that, isn't it? So when are your next books coming out now? You've got a couple more on the cards, haven't you?
yes. Currently, I'm working on a standalone novel, and I'm like looking into literary agents to represent me for that. And after that, I will go straight in to write the next two books in the series, and probably next year, early next year, you could see the next book coming out.
Okay. Does your father help you with the publishing part of your books? Because that's a tricky one these days, I understand.
Yeah, the publishing is a bit wild,
Yeah.
and my dad, he's always been supportive, but it's really my mom who actually pushes, everything, because my dad, he isn't into much reading, but he actually tells us really nice stories, but then he isn't much into reading.
Right. Oh, when you think of all that you've done, David, has there been time, I wonder, for any outdoor activities? Do you play any sport? Do you do other things apart from what we're talking about?
I do play badminton
Oh,
occasionally,
really? Okay.
and my father, he is actually was an athlete,
Okay.
and he's been trying to push my sister and me into getting into sports, but that's really not my forte, and
Okay.
I really took on to the writing side.
Right.
But yeah, and I was involved in activity, but then 10th, 11th, and 12th, we
Yeah.
have the board exams all through the years. It's been stressful, but yeah.
Of course. You are a product of the very famous Montfort School here in Chennai, and you were a school pupil leader there. So that would have added a lot of stress onto somebody like yourself who was writing and, doing his books plus doing his studies. Wasn't that difficult to do, David? How did you cope with that?
Yeah, so like I said, it's mainly the editing that I do during the school days. So that's helped. But yeah, it was stressful. I like to, take that as a challenge. And especially when I was a school pupil leader, probably
Yeah.
during the first month, I was like never in class. So basically, I'll be missing out on the lesson. So I have to go home, I have to learn them all by myself. Of course, the teachers were very helpful. Montfort, it's such a beautiful school that really encourages both extracurricular activities and also academics. And being the school pupil leader was such a wonderful experience for me. I had to organize these programs, the teachers
Mm,
day, everything. It has helped me a lot,
right.
basically.
What about other young people like yourself who are listening to us today? I mean, would you tell them pick up a pencil and paper and try to, write a little story or something like that? Do you think that that's a nice thing to encourage young people to do rather than sit at their computer the whole time and play computer games, etc.? What do you think about this, David?
Yeah,
Or
I
am I
would.
being too old fashioned as I ask you
No,
that?
no, absolutely not. Because we definitely need to enhance our own creativity, especially the next generation. Because like AI is coming up, AI is like doing art and writing, and it's really, I think that's it's like throwing a spanner into our creativity. And we, as humans, you know, we are taking the easy side out with AI, and it's a really good thing. Like, you can use it for good stuff, but then I think your creativity should never be spoiled because of that. And I would not just urge people to take a pen and write, because all of us are gifted in different ways. So it could be a paintbrush, it could be a crayon, whatever. Do something creative.
Yes.
That's what I like to
Well,
tell
did,
people.
did your school encourage you towards writing your books? Were they encouraging of you?
Yeah, yes, definitely. That's what I really love about Montfort. They aren't into, academics, and you're pushing the students. It's all, we have lots of, what do you say, many programs, many workshops. I attended a robotics workshop when I was in grade 7. So my school, I'm really blessed to have a school like them. And my principal and my vice principal, they were very helpful, and they were using me as an example towards other students, and also they attended my book launch.
Oh, how nice! That's really nice to hear that.
Yes.
So now you've got two books on the cards, okay? So are you actually writing two books simultaneously? Do you switch from one to the other, or how does it work?
Currently I'm just writing one book,
Okay.
the new one that's a standalone, and I just want to take a small break from the Chronicles of Cancatia, because the world building in that, it's a bit complex, and it's hard to sometimes it's really stressful. So I just, push that aside. This thing is a more simpler world building with a simpler magic system. But I've actually had the outline for the next two books in the series. I know how it's going to go, just have to write it down.
Okay. Um, when you think about what you're going to do next,
Okay.
okay, I can see that you have your own plans, etc. How do you think you're going to fit in all of these things you want to do, David? I'm a bit foxed at how you're going to do that.
So till now, my what do you say, my mantra of
Please.
work while you work, play while you play, that sort of thing. Well, you finish your work first and then you get into your creative work. That has helped me, so I'm really hoping that that would help me through college also. Finish your work first and then write. And yeah, definitely college, you're learning a lot more. And I think this should probably help me to do that. Maybe we could come back here and you could ask me that
I
later.
will. I'm
I
going to
would
keep
know
a
more.
track on you and your career as you go along. Oh, which college are you? Have you applied to a whole lot of colleges to get a seat, or what you're planning to actually study in the?
Yes, I am planning to do ECE, that is Electronics and Communication Engineering, and then pursue my master's in astrophysics. So for that, we have been applying to, VIT Vellore Institute of Technology, and also Anna University Counseling, and also SSN. So there are a few options out there. We are still considering them.
Now you've got a couple of months of holidays. So do you think that you're going to spend all of these next couple of months writing and writing and writing and being ready with your next few books?
Yeah, my basic aim was, to write three books during this time. So I would finish the one I'm working on. I'm through the editing process of it, and then after that, I would go on to writing the next two books in this
But
series.
you're writing at a great speed. I mean, uh, you what you do? You take a couple of months or something to write a book, or what? I keep hearing about people who've been writing a book for 5 years and 6 years and a long, long time. How are you doing it so fast?
Yeah, I think the trick for that is during the first draft, you just get words on the page. You just write, whatever comes to your thing, and then you come back to it and then you edit it. You refine your writing. You say, okay, no, I don't want this scene here. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to rewrite this. And then after that, when I have a manuscript that I'm happy with, I give it to my mom and she reads that and she plots it. You know what, this is a bit off here. You have to fix that. And then I get on that, and then it goes to my editor, and then the whole process
Do you think
continues.
that one day you might drift into doing, maybe writing plays or poetry or something else apart from just books? Is that something that you might even consider?
Maybe I wouldn't write plays, but I have written a few poetry, for my school, and there were a few competitions that came up, so I did write into poetry. Maybe I would write poetry, but I'm not really into plays.
Right. I'm not going to go into this in a great deal, but tell me about some of the awards, and I know you've received a fair number of them. I'd like you to outline for me some of those at least.
Okay, so the first book, it got me the Golden Book Awards when it came out. And the second book, Risen, actually was the main book, that's got me so many awards. I've got Publishing Pitara, they gave me, they gave the title of the Best Young Adult Fiction, and Kalam Writers Forum of Bengal, they gave me the Best Author of the Year. And I actually won a world record for that, for getting a bestseller rank on Amazon within 24 hours of publishing, and being the youngest person to actually achieve that.
That's amazing because Amazon is so widely, circulated around the world. And what about outside of our country? Do people respond? Do people write back and say, we like this, we didn't like this, can you change that? Do people do that? What kind of feedback do you get?
So we have a big family. So my uncles and aunts, they've definitely, purchased the books there, and they do read a lot, and yeah, they haven't really responded on Amazon, but I've heard, few remarks from cousins and friends who have lived abroad. They tell me, their book is good, and what's coming up next, and they ask me those things.
Does it make you happy?
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
To feel that somebody resonates with me, they enjoy my world as much as I enjoyed creating that.
Right. David, You're a wonderful young man, and I want to end today by wishing you all the very, very best, not just in your career, but in your writing career more than anything else, you know. And I really want to thank you, David, for coming. I want to say that I would like to shake your hand and say, come back fine when you've got some more books on the cards, and we'll be right here waiting for you, David Baker. Thank you so much indeed. Well, that's about it. That's all the time I have today, but I know that you've enjoyed listening to David Francis Royce Baker. And I hope that you'll join me again next week. Same time, same place, going beyond. Bye for now.